Caleb with A Safe Landing Counseling Services. I wanted to talk a little bit more about healing. I had a previous video that discussed the difference between better and deeper. So sometimes when people come into counseling, they're looking for something that helps them feel better. Okay, so when we could go to define that, what better is, that concept of better, oftentimes it's to go back or not to feel, or I just don't want any depression or anxiety. Well, it's kind of an interesting concept. It's like saying, I don't want to feel the wind on my face, but I also want to feel a brush from maybe my spouse or my child when they touch my face. If you say you don't want one part, you might actually lose the other part as well. So when people say, I don't want to feel depression, are they also saying I don't want to feel delight and enjoyment? And that's kind of a conflict there if we start understanding what better is for people. So we talked about not necessarily going for better, maybe going for deeper. And when we go with God in a counseling perspective, oftentimes things don't just get better. What we're looking at is things get deeper first, and then they might get better as we go through that. But the better is what I want to talk to you about in contrast to what we spoke about last time. What is healing? What is healing for the brokenhearted? What is healing for those who are struggling with emotional stress? So healing might look very different from person to person to person. With some people, healing can look like a stopping of one feeling. I don't have any more panic attacks. I don't have any more high blood pressure, or it's reduced quite a bit. And that can look like healing. And oftentimes I've seen that happen, where somebody has blood pressure that's reduced because they've come into counseling and because they have worked through a lot of issues in their life, and they realize how much of their identity is locked into some of those issues. And as they develop that strength over time of saying, I know who I am outside of what happens, outside of how other people see me or who says certain things to me, I know my identity outside of that. I know my identity in Christ, completely in Christ. So Christian perspectives in counseling brings us to a place where we're looking at deeper in a healthy way that is about healing. So better starts to become about where does my life go from here, and how do I come into a place of healing. So I want healing to happen for people. I want healing so bad. I pray for healing, and I am seeing healing, and it's amazing. It doesn't always come the way that I think it does, nor does it come in the way those who sit on my couch think it should. But they tell me, wow, things are changing. Well, we're going to say God's doing something and he's working with them, because it's not necessarily counseling techniques. If that were the case, then you could go to any counselor, and the counseling techniques, as long as they're provided well at some basic level, then people get better. I'm not hearing that. I hear a lot of people coming from counselors, they're saying, that counselor was awful. And I'm going to say and be honest with you, there's a lot of awful counselors out there. That could be true for any profession. If you felt the sting of a bad service from any profession, it's kind of that way. So counseling, you have to be extra careful, because you're dealing with very sensitive places in your heart, in your life, in your relationships. And so we want to make sure that you get good counseling. So a counselor who provides healthy counsel will be somebody who is helping to go deeper and not just better. Let's just do a quick fix, get you out in 3 or 4 sessions. And there are approaches that are called brief therapies, or some other therapies that are really concentrated on, let's just get you in and out to make sure that we focus on the presenting problem, the one thing. The only problems I have with that is it's not really healing, because you'll be back through in about 3 months to 6 months, or you'll find somebody else. And so when we think about healing, we want to go deeper. And that deeper can look like anything that God is wanting to open up in your life, and you didn't realize there was pain there. You didn't realize there was trauma there. You didn't realize there was hope deferred or misplaced. And so when we go into a deeper place of healing, what we're going to look for is somebody who is willing to process deep places and say, okay, God, who am I in you? What's my purpose and what's my role? So we're going to start with identity. And again, that comes from the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system in the heart, is that you're functioning in a place concentrating on who am I, what's my purpose, and what's my value. Okay. So as we dig deeper into those things and we find true purpose and we find true value, life starts to make sense. Chaos starts to settle. At first, relationships might be up and down and conflictual because you are changing something in the system. However, over time, people say, wow, you've gotten so much stronger, or you have so much more hope, or you have so much more joy. So when I look at healing, I think of the fruit of the Spirit, where there's love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, self-control, faithfulness, those sorts of things. If those are present, I know that healing's taking place. When somebody comes in and says, I have more joy in my life, I have more peace in my life, I know that that is healing's taking place. That's a sign of healing. Those are markers and indicators that they're doing deep work, and that when they leave, they don't necessarily need to come back. Some people come back because they're finding that they're not necessarily getting this kind of connection other places, which is really sad. I want churches to do stuff like this a little bit deeper, where it's about discipleship and not about just a service or a program or a small group, but deep discipleship. And that's starting to happen in some places. So we want to see churches doing this. We want to see people bringing healing into their lives and helping others with that deep place of healing and purpose, identity, connection. So as we think about going deeper, we're thinking about deep healing. As we're thinking about better, we're looking at what deeper looks like and what true healing is. And again, I go back to that fruit of the Spirit. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's this freedom that occurs. And the fruit of the Spirit starts to produce and multiply. And we see that affecting others. So guys, I hope this is helpful for you. I hope that you can understand the difference between better and deep healing, what deeper looks like, and what true healing can feel like. There is hope for you. There is absolutely hope for you. You can get through life, and it does take effort. It does take some difficult times to get through some of those hardened places in our lives that we can overcome. So we look for the opportunity to go deeper with God. Deep cries out to deep. And we recognize that. We recognize the Spirit of God within us. So I hope that you go for deep healing, that you're going deeper into your heart, deeper into places, walking with God. And check us out on the next one. Subscribe, or even give us a thumbs up on the videos you like. All right, take care.